Welcome to Nevermore Stories, and this is another special Christmas edition. Like or comment if you'd like to see more. In the icy heart of the North Pole, where frosty peaks and shimmering snowflakes defined the landscape, Santa Claus faced an unexpected challenge. His once merry reindeer had taken a dive into the world of dark humor, festive chaos, and outright hilarity. The reindeer stable, once a haven of serene jingling and eager hooves, had morphed into an unconventional therapy session and support group where each reindeer showcased their unique personalities and quirks in a way that would baffle even the most seasoned Arctic psychologists. Dasher, once the paragon of grace and speed, had developed an alarming addiction to hot cocoa laced with an excessive amount of espresso. His need for speed now extended beyond flying. Dasher could be found zooming around the stables at warp speed, leaving streaks of cocoa and a trail of startled elves in his wake. He had enrolled in a caffeine detox program, but the elves suspected he snuck in an occasional shot of espresso, claiming it was for energy balance. Dancer, with her once elegant prances, had evolved into the ultimate dance diva with a penchant for extravagant performances. She demanded a spotlight for her every move, and the elves had to install a tiny disco ball in her stable. Dancer insisted on a daily dance routine, complete with a backup team of elves dressed as backup dancers. In therapy, she claimed that dancing was her way of coping with the stress of the holiday season, and she believed every reindeer should have a backup dance crew. Prancer, known for his graceful leaps, had developed an obsession with fashion. His stable was adorned with mirrors, and he spent hours experimenting with various accessories and outfits, including antler-shaped sunglasses and jingle bell necklaces. The elves were tasked with creating a runway in the stable, and Prancer hosted weekly fashion shows where he critiqued the fashion choices of his fellow reindeer. In therapy, he revealed that his desire for a new wardrobe was a coping mechanism for the pressure of pulling Santa's sleigh and wanting to look good while doing it. Vixen, once demure and elegant, had morphed into the sassy instigator of the group. She delighted in stirring up mischief, often convincing the other reindeer to join her in pranks on the unsuspecting elves. Vixen's sarcastic comments and eye rolls had become legendary in the North Pole, and she even started a gossip column in the North Pole Gazette, much to the chagrin of the more reserved reindeer. In therapy, she claimed that her mischief was a way of asserting herself in a male-dominated reindeer group, and she believed in bringing a little chaos to the frozen north. Comet, always a bit eccentric, had fallen deep into the rabbit hole of conspiracy theories. He believed in a secret society of snowmen plotting to take over the North Pole. His stable was covered in hastily drawn diagrams and strings connecting seemingly unrelated events, all pointing to an imminent snowman apocalypse. In therapy, Comet insisted that he was the only one privy to the impending snowman takeover and that the reindeer needed to be prepared for the frosty revolution. Cupid, the reindeer with a penchant for romance, had turned his stable into a love advice hotline. Elves lined up for Cupid's pearls of wisdom, and he had become the North Pole's unofficial love guru, complete with heart-shaped nose accessories. In therapy, he explained that helping others find love was his way of spreading the joy of the season. And he insisted on organizing speed dating events for the single elves in the North Pole. Donner, once the rebel of the group, had turned over a new leaf. He attended anger management classes where he practiced deep breathing exercises and counted to 10 when frustrated. In therapy, he revealed that he was determined to shed his rebellious image and be a role model for the younger reindeer. He even started leading meditation sessions for the stressed-out elves, creating a zen-like atmosphere in his stable. Blitzen, always the prankster, had found his calling as the North Pole's stand-up comedian. He regaled the other reindeer and elves with his jokes, often poking fun at the absurdities of life in the Arctic. Blitzen even incorporated antler antics into his routine, making faces and using them as props for punchlines. In therapy, he claimed that humor was his way of dealing with the pressures of pulling a magical sleigh, and he insisted on having a comedy night at the stable every week. Rudolph, the red-nosed wonder, had become the unofficial mascot of the therapy sessions. His bright nose lit up the room, providing a therapeutic ambiance for the group. In therapy, he confided that he embraced his unique feature and wanted to use it to spread positivity among his fellow reindeer. Rudolph also became an illuminating philosopher, often sharing profound thoughts about the symbolism of his nose and its metaphorical representation of embracing one's differences. Santa, realizing the gravity of the situation, called in Dr. Jingleheimer, a renowned North Pole psychologist, to conduct group therapy for the reindeer. The therapy sessions became a spectacle in their own right, with each reindeer expressing their frustrations, fears, and hilarious anecdotes. Dr. Jingleheimer, armed with a mix of therapeutic techniques and dark humor, guided the group towards self-discovery and acceptance, all while trying not to burst into laughter at their antics. As the therapy progressed, the reindeer started bonding over their shared experiences and quirks. They found strength in their collective struggle and began to appreciate the absurdity of their newfound personalities. Dr. Jingleheimer, with a twinkle in his eye, suggested incorporating some of their unique traits into the Christmas Eve journey, turning it into a whimsical and unforgettable experience for the entire world. The therapy sessions became a must-watch at the North Pole, with elves tuning in to witness the hilarious dynamics of Santa's unconventional reindeer. The North Pole Chronicle even featured a weekly column titled Reindeer Rehab Revelations, chronicling the progress and antics of the Festive support group. Despite the chaos and dark humor that had enveloped the North Pole, there was an underlying message of resilience, self-acceptance, and the transformative power of embracing one's quirks. The once merry reindeer had become an inspiration for the North Pole, proving that even in the darkest and quirkiest of times, the spirit of Christmas could prevail. As the holiday season approached, the reindeer, now a tight-knit group of misfit heroes, embraced their roles with newfound joy and camaraderie. Their therapy sessions had not only transformed them, but had also become a beacon of festive hilarity in the heart of the North Pole. And so, in the icy heart of the North Pole, where frosty peaks and shimmering snowflakes defined the landscape, Santa Claus and his dark-humored, therapy-attending, and utterly hilarious reindeer prepared for the most unconventional Christmas yet. The festive chaos and resilience of the North Pole misfits had become the stuff of legend, making their story the hope and dream of reindeer everywhere. Merry Bloody Christmas, brought to you by an excessive amount of spiked eggnog.